welcome back to Study with Julia. Today I'm going to do kind of Q&A video. I obviously didn't get any questions, but I just wanted to do like a sit down video, so I thought let's do a Q&A, and I found some questions online. So let's get right into this. Question number 1 is, how can I organise my revision? I have a weekly revision planner on my wall just in front of my desk. I'll put a picture here, but if that doesn't work for you, then you can also block some time out. But I personally like the revision timetables, and I put everything in, things that I know I'm gonna have. For example, if I have tuition or I've got work someday, then I'll put that in. And I can kind of work around, and also I schedule in time for myself, so I'm not always revising just like the whole time basically. And I personally put specifically what subjects I'm going to be revising, but I like to plan before the session, before I sit down to revise. I like to plan what I'm going to revise, and I haven't started this yet. It's something that I really want to try, but basically I want to get like what's it called, a Google Sheet, I think it is, and like so I can highlight it red, amber, green, to see how well I understand and remember a topic. And I think I haven't tried it out yet, but it sounds like it would work for me. But obviously it's very unique, so I don't know if that will work for you necessarily, but I think it is very key. Even if you don't do that, but just plan what you're going to revise when you come to a session. Question number 2 is, what are the best extra study resources? I personally use a lot of CGP stuff. Most of my things are like CGP. Hold on, I'll show you guys. This is the chemistry one that I use. Basically, I've got everything CGP though, I'm pretty sure. It is very, very good. They offer revision guides, practice questions, and like practice papers type of thing. And I like the format of the revision guides because I feel like they've got lots of images, they've got lots of colour, and it's not just looking at text and reading it, but there's also diagrams. So I think their resources are the best ones I've seen kind of. But I guess it depends, maybe you've seen better ones, but for me, CGP really are the best extra study resources. Question number 3 is quite a broad one, but it's basically, how can I revise? I've got, I do flashcards. These are currently my RE flashcards that I'm making, but you can do spider diagrams, you can reread. I personally am not a fan. I usually use Pomodoro technique if I'm studying for more than 1 hour at a time. Sometimes, but because I feel like the breaks in it are very important. But if I'm just studying an hour at a time, I can handle that just by going for it. I don't know if I said spider diagrams are very good, like mind maps type of thing. You've got one topic and you can, elaborate on it. Notes, not necessarily flashcards, but just notes. Notes are good too. Diagrams are very useful, especially in things like science, I feel. They're going to be very good for that as well. Question number 4 is, how many hours should I study per day? I did a little bit of research on that. They said from 1.5 to 3 hours a day, or 1 to 1.5 hours per week for every subject. Personally, there are days where, today I've studied for 4 hours. I think I've revised, and there are days where I do absolutely nothing. So it really depends kind of on what you've got going on for you, like how busy you are. But I think a big factor in this is motivation as well. So I think just start off with like a goal. For example, say if you're not revising at all, start off with a goal, and then gradually you can progress. I go Pomodoro technique, 50 minutes revision, 10-minute rest, or sometimes longer rest, or sometimes I just do like 50 minutes of revision a day. So it really does depend. As long as you feel like you actually did something, and as long as you also don't push yourself to the point of being overwhelmed and burning out. So I think you need to figure out what is best for you as well, and you can have different extracurricular activities, for example, to your friends. So don't necessarily compare it with them, because some people may be working, some people may have clubs and sports, and some people may have nothing really like that. So it really just does depend on you. Question number 5 is, when should I start revising? I think it's never too early to start revising. And by revising, I mean revising is literally just recall or reading over notes. It doesn't have to be very long or very hard. But I think from what I read, 6 months before the exam, you can start doing things. And I think personally, I'm gonna start when I finish my notes, which shouldn't be in too long. I'm gonna start looking over practice questions, and then maybe like a month or 2 before the exams, I'll start doing practice papers, depending on how many I can find. Because if there's not a lot, then it can. I don't want to do them too early on as well, so I want to go looking for them first, see how many I can find, and then space them out evenly, so I can do them before the exam. How do I know what to revise? That's question 6. I mean, as I've said before, you can kind of you plan out before what you're going to revise, but also I think what works for me is looking at the syllabus, and then you check how confident you are in what the syllabus says, and you put a red if you have no idea on the topic, an amber if you're not sure fully but you kind of recollect it, and a green if you're 100% fine on it. And then according to that, revisit each thing. So the red you're going to revisit the most, the green you're probably going to revisit the least, just to make sure it stays in your head. So I feel like that's a good way to know what to revise, as well as maybe just looking over everything really. But obviously you can use the red, amber, green kind of system to see how often you should revisit what, and then you can update it accordingly. If you're like, oh, okay, I understand this more now. By the time you're looking at what to revise next. Question 7 is, what type of notes should I make? As I've said before, for RE personally, I do spider diagrams. For other subjects, I'll see if I can find an example. Chemistry, number 1 is for test 1. And I've got the question on one side, and then you flip it over and it's the answer. So you can kind of test yourself. That's what I use for pretty much everything really, this type of method. I use spider diagrams just for RE really, because there's a lot of content there. But for everything else, you've got the question on one side and the answer on the other, just so I can test myself on the go before the exam, wherever really. And I also use the CGP prepared flashcards, because they're also really good, and they've got they're all in topics. They're all in topics, and then you've got the questions on one side and the answers on the other as well. But it's more questions, and it's just more organised, I guess. What is the best revision technique? I've already told you guys. I use Pomodoro pretty much most of the time. What other revision techniques are there that are good? I think there's the one where you divide your page. You've got title, main notes, keywords, and the conclusion. I'll put a picture and the name here because I forgot what it's called. It's Cornell. I haven't tried that one, but I've heard a lot of feedback that it's good. But because I use flashcards, there wouldn't really be enough space, and I don't revise on a full page kind of. So that doesn't work for me, but it might work for you, so maybe try it out. How can I deal with distractions? Question number 9. I personally just put my phone on my bed because I'm not bothered to stand up and walk. But no, I mean, I feel like it's just basically, it is really a case of that. Just like keeping things such as devices that you're not using away from you. But for example, because I do revise on my computer, it can be tricky, because I could be tempted to put something like a film on or something, but I think at that point you just need to train your brain and get used to not doing everything you want to at that time. Just stick to being focused. It can be tricky, but I mean that's the only thing I can think of, really. It's kind of like training your brain to mental strength. What do your study breaks look like? Usually my study breaks, I either do like walk around, at least if it's just go downstairs and like chat with the family or something, or I will do one like kind of indulge in the distraction, so I will put something on like a YouTube video real quick and watch it during my break, and yeah, basically just relax before you go back into it again. It's kind of like a reward for being able to stick with revising for however long you managed to revise for. And I think they're very important in letting your brain rest, and it helps you not burn out and not be overwhelmed, because it gives you time to just kind of settle down for a bit and be like, okay, before you go back into it. Hey guys, and thank you so much for watching this Q&A. Please comment down below maybe if you have any questions. Remember to like and subscribe, that will help me a lot, and I'll see you guys all very soon. Goodbye.